sometimes it seems like the world can be a cruel place. We all can use more compassion, honesty, and generosity. Dr. Jana, a board-certified pediatrician and proud mother of 3, is here today on Positively Stacy to help parents understand how to best help our children develop these traits. Welcome, Dr. Jana.
Oh, yeah, it's great to be with you. Thanks.
So, Dr. Jana, is there a certain age when kids should start developing character?
Well, you know, it's an interesting question, and it kind of gets to the heart of what we've just seen in a national survey that Primrose Schools did of parents, looking at how important parents in this sort of social media age think character traits are in terms of developing positive character traits. And overwhelmingly, 92% of parents believe that's very important. At the same time, what's striking when you ask about when should we start instilling these is that almost half of those parents thought that preschool was too early, that kids don't develop them in those early years. And as a pediatrician, and as you mentioned, a parent, but also I owned an educational childcare center. I owned a Primrose School for 10 years. What we know is that those, like the foundational core of positive character traits and social emotional skills and the things you mentioned, honesty, generosity, compassion, all start from the day children are born. So the reason I like talking about this subject is, first of all, I've never met anybody who's argued with me that these are not important skills. But what I also stand to do is help people who may not otherwise realize, over half of parents thought it was that their kids did not or would not be able to learn social emotional skills like honesty and generosity or compassion, especially in an early education setting, and that is absolutely not true. We've got huge opportunity both as parents and when we partner with childcare providers.
Well, honestly, I've got 6 kids. They're ages 14 to 26 now, and I teach middle school. So I am with kids all the time, and I understand how tricky it can be for them sometimes to navigate their feelings and their emotions and things that they deal with their classmates and their friends, which is why, empathy and compassion is so important. So what can we do when the kids are really young to help these children develop those character traits?
Well, you've just hit on such an important topic because, at any age, communication, collaboration, teamwork, empathy, all these skills are being recognized across every realm, whether it's healthcare, education, business, right? And we see it's more outwardly obvious to people when middle schoolers or high schoolers or older kids and adults have to deal with those things. What we now know, though, and the brain science is really compelling, we now know that the foundational skills, right, that help make all those things possible and how to navigate in the world develop in the first 5 years. So, looking in early childhood, I say from day one, we know that a baby's brain literally wires and develops, first of all, faster than any other time in their lives in those early years, as fast as 700 new neural connections per second. But what's striking is that we also know that it is very, very dependent on social interactions with a caring, responsive adult. Now, you and I as parents, and all parents know that we are our children's first and most important teachers, right? But it doesn't have to be, it's caring interactions. It's not a flashcard lesson in empathy, right? It's the interactions we have. We can model for very young children what to do. And on the child care side, historically, childcare by some people has been seen as babysitting, right? Keeping kids safe, which as a pediatrician is something I take very, very seriously. But what a lot of parents in this survey showed us is a lot of parents don't realize that it is equally, if not more important, to make sure that we look at what those skills are that we can foster on the social emotional side, right? Because we care, and I love the expression that we care more about we care as much about who children become as what they know. Early education is not a flashcard academy. It's teaching kids the additional skills like you mentioned, generosity and compassion and all. There are very simple, straightforward ways to do that, from reading books and pointing out emotions and understanding other people's feelings, to, for example, one of my favorite activities when I owned my child care center, which was a caring and giving canned food drive, where not only did the kids bring cans in, right? It wasn't just how many cans could I get the parents to send their kids in with, but the kids did chores and they figured out what other children would need for food to eat a healthy diet, and then they'd go to the grocery store and they'd pick out the food, and they'd, in some cases, at my school, the field trip was to deliver the food so that we realize what it's like for other people who may not have what we have. That to me is so profound in terms of the opportunity to teach something hands-on. again, day-to-day interactions are great. Partnering so that anybody who's in a young child's life shares those goals is what we can do for children to, I believe, make the world a better place.
I love the hands-on activities you're talking about, because that really does help the child connect with somebody else. And that's kind of the key to really understanding empathy. Empathy can be really tough to teach. So as far as the social skills, because social skills are so important to kids in their relationships starting very young, what are some other things that parents can do at home to help children to help build these skills?
Well, empathy is such a commonly used word now, and it makes me very happy to hear it, but to understand what empathy is sort of at its core, it's perspective taking, right? Like it's the ability to understand and actually feel something like what somebody else might feel. And in this day and age, especially when it's something different than what you may feel or you may believe, the ability to understand other people's emotions, feelings, perspectives is critical. You're never going to find me saying that there's an age when it's not important in terms of using books. Books are one of the best things you can do. But, early childhood, talking, cooing, singing, and reading books to babies is a very tangible, hands-on, and important thing to do. Yes, it's warm and fuzzy and it's fun. I did lots of it, right? I mean, my children and I read books all the time. But to know the sort of power we have to do that, because you can start by pointing out emotions, books that have, for older children, conflicts, and how do you resolve conflicts or differences of opinion, or things like honesty or responsibility. Those are all people skills. Those are how do we relate to others, and empathy is really dependent on those things. If you can't relate to, understand, even talk to other people who have ideas different than yours or may feel differently than you do, then that's a setup for having conflict. And again, empathy and understanding these skills works in the other direction.
Well, these sound like excellent skills that the children of all ages need to learn, and it's really wonderful to hear of ways to help the youngest set really connect with their feelings and the feelings of their friends and the people around them. Where can parents go for more information on everything that you've shared today?
Well, glad you asked. Because I've got the opportunity to work with Primrose, it's great because Primrose has on their blog, so primroseschools.com/blog. There's more information. First, about this survey is really kind of striking to see sort of where we're at in terms of our views as parents, but it also has lots of information on the latest brain science that's informing this, and also about these skills. And lastly, understanding that providers can be partners with parents, so in terms of childcare providers, what to look for when you're looking for a caring, nurturing environment that will teach not only sort of the formal, academic school readiness skills, reading, writing, and arithmetic are still very important. But at the same time, as much thought is put into how do you foster, nurture, and cultivate these skills for very young children is also found on that website.
Excellent. It is really important to nurture the emotional side as well as the intellectual side of a child at any age. I really appreciate talking with you today and all these wonderful tidbits that you have to share with my readers, and they can go find more information at primroseschools.com.
Great talking to you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.